Welcome to Access Sportsnet Lakers, brought to you by your Toyota dealers. We make it easy. Allie Clifton alongside Big Game James Worthy, Mike Bresnan, and Mike Trudell handling the post-game locker room responsibilities from Oklahoma City. Toyota may make it easy, but the Thunder guys, they do not. Let's just say that. This one over rather quickly. If you were watching from the beginning, the Thunder put up 44 in the first quarter, 38 in the second. They led by 31 at the half, which means they did it on both ends of the floor. I do want to get to obviously the game aspect of all this, but I think the real concern here moving forward here down the stretch is what we saw with Luka there in the third quarter in noticeable pain, grabbing the hamstring as he did walk off on his own power, which is a good sign there to the locker room. But I think all of our attention is certainly going to be on that over the next several hours and days of the Lakers' next play on Sunday. But outside of that big game, the Thunder are exactly who they have been, the defending champs. They got the reigning MVP, and they play as such. Just a couple of stats to throw at you. 14 different guys scored for the Thunder, 73 bench points. They forced 18 turnovers, a lot of them early, which set the tone for 24 Thunder points, 13 offensive rebounds for 18 points. I mean, pick your poison.
12 steals. You know, they had 32 assists to the Lakers 20, 64 points in the paint. It goes to show you the difference between a championship team that has a system that knows how to win every night. Regardless, they just plug in players. I mean, I thought Dort was the most valuable player in the first half. He hit threes. Everyone was knocking down shots. Hartenstein, you know, was getting offensive rebounds. They were physically better, and they just pushed the Lakers into an offensive frenzy that they just couldn't get past the defense. You know, because if you're looking for switching, which Luka does a lot, it doesn't matter. You know, you switch against Oklahoma, there's no advantage to that. So he had a tough time finding his comfort shots, and all the Lakers really just couldn't get anything going. So it was a tough game. It's only one game. A loss is a loss, whether you lose by 100 or 1. But I think the Lakers need to take a look at where they need to get to. Not a fresh start either. You got to start tougher and bigger and faster when you're playing against Oklahoma on the road, and they just Oklahoma just brought it to them physically early.
Yeah, that start, James. I mean, Lakers are down 23 after 1. What happened there? I mean, OKC, they made 7 threes. You know, they had 7 steals in that first quarter. 7 steals for OKC in 1 quarter. Marinate on that for a minute. That's
I don't want to.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, exactly. Like, let's not marinate on that. But I feel like, you know, OKC kind of punched the Lakers in the lip early, and the Lakers just, when you're down 44-21 after 1, James, that's a problem. That's an issue. And you know, there's a couple things here. The Lakers' momentum was so good coming off the month of March. We've devoted a lot of time to it lately. You know, they were 15-2 in March, and it's like, okay, we knew this would be a test. OKC was favored by 9.5. That's a pretty sizable spread against a third-place team in the West. And then you also have, you know, how's Luka? He looked really upset after that hamstring injury. I didn't think that was a good reaction by him. And also, how's Austin Reeves? He was kind of clutching his back a few times, James, and you know, he just. You know, AR didn't. There's no medical update for him. He didn't leave the game like Luka did, but. You know, the good news, the only good news, perhaps, Ellie, they play OKC again in 5 days here in Los Angeles. So not overlooking Dallas on Easter Sunday, but that's a team you should beat. And then you get a rematch against the champs, but it's going to be here in Los Angeles.
You know, you bring up the good point about the momentum from the month of March, 15-2 for the Lakers. And we talked about this in the pregame. Between these two squads combined, they were 29-3 in the month of March. So you do have 2 of the top 3 going head-to-head, and there were so many expectations coming in. Also, the league's leading scorer in Luka Doncic and the second leading scorer in terms of Shai Gilgeous. And I say it from that standpoint of, you mentioned it, Big Game, like, how do you just look at this? We're in April. You know how close you are to the postseason and how you want to be playing and how good you had just been playing for a good stretch. How do you kind of turn the page and really utilize this to get better, but also not let it discourage you at this point?
Can't let it discourage you. Out of 82 games, you never want to have a game like this. I mean, regardless of whether it's January or now. But against Oklahoma, you do have them in 5 days. You stuck up the gym a little bit. And it wasn't really all your fault. It's just Oklahoma is damn good. and their defense is really tough. So the Lakers have to look at film, have a meeting of the minds, realize where they had been before they played Oklahoma, and also see where they have to uplift themselves when they're playing against a championship team. This is a championship team they played against tonight, so they gotta put a little bit more in the tank in order to get close to competing with them. And it starts with a tough start mentally, and you gotta meet force with force. And I think when Oklahoma realized that the Lakers weren't going to meet them with the physicality, they just pushed them around, steals, offensive rebounds, just about whatever they want. And then when you have 71 points off the bench, my God, that's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, and giving up 82 in that first half. I mean, that's a lot. It's funny. About 15 years ago, when I was still at the LA Times, James, the Lakers got beat badly by someone. I don't remember who it was. And Allie, all us reporters kind of crowded around Kobe's locker room after the game, in the locker room. And we were like, Kobe, what do you do? What's next for the team? And he said 2 words that I always remember. He said, flush it. I remember saying, excuse me? He was like, yeah, you just flush it.
Short-term memory.
You just get rid of this game. And that's what the Lakers have to do. They probably won't find much on tape that's going to, first of all, the players won't want to look at it. I'm sure there might be some instruction from JJ Redick on it, but a game like this, it's so one-sided, James. I think you just got to quote the immortal Kobe, just flush it, and move on from there.
You also have to tip your cap to the Thunder because they are the real deal.
They're champions.
Their depth.
And they're seeking another one. Winning one championship is okay, but they've seen back-to-back. They've seen, Michael. They've seen the Lakers go 3-peat. So at least back-to-back with this squad and the draft picks that they have in the future, they may be going for quadruple, man.
Yeah.
They're really good.
Don't forget, they started, 24-1? And I think Billy Mack said the variety of lineups, different lineups that they've had to utilize this season because of injuries in their own and still be able to sustain the level of excellence in which they do. There's nothing light about them.
Yeah, Coach of the Year.
Time to hear from Coach JJ Redick, brought to you by your Toyota dealers.
JJ, what's the immediate Luka's hamstring?
We'll do an MRI tomorrow, left hamstring. We'll know more tomorrow.
When it comes out just the beginning of that game, the intensity Oklahoma City brought, what do you think was the immediate moment in the game that kind of just...
I don't know that there was an immediate moment. I thought when the game started, we frankly had unforced turnovers. They had a lot more shots on goal to start the game. They made Lou Dort, coming out making threes was big. We settled in offensively in the second quarter, but just could never really get it going defensively for us. And that was on a night when Shea played 30 minutes and took 25 shots and scored 28 points. Did a good job of not keeping him off the free throw line, but he's going to get his, and those other guys, they made a lot of threes. And then the turnovers, obviously they killed us, and we were, better in the second half, but the 8 turnovers in the first quarter really hurt us.
Austin came back, obviously, but what kind of update do you have on how he's doing? He was
in a weird position, stretching for a basketball, loose ball, and just felt something like intercostal, somewhere in his back, in between the ribs. He was able to play through it and battle back, but we'll see how he feels tomorrow.
I don't know if you got to talk to Luka, but just kind of how are his spirits if you were able to talk to him after he left?
I haven't spoken, other than words of encouragement.
You mentioned that Luka's going to have a MRI tomorrow. I've noticed that he was grabbing at the hamstring. I think it was late in the first half. Did he say anything about that, or was that picked up?
Oh, yeah.